Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Christy. I am currently following the WW Blue program. So normally on my channel, I share weight loss related things, meal plans, meal preps, grocery hauls, and things like that. But this video is completely different. As you can see from my shirt, thank you, Mara. Mara sent me this shirt, one of my wonderful friends. I appreciate it, Mara. Thank you so much. So as you can see, I survived COVID-19. So I debated about doing this video. I really wasn't gonna put it up because honestly, I just didn't know if I really wanted to sit there and think back on everything, but I decided to put it together because so many of you have reached out to me asking about my symptoms, asking about what I did, how I managed to stay at home, not go to the hospital, and things like that. So I decided I'm just gonna go ahead and do it and put it up. I want to start this video though with the disclaimer that I am not any type of medical person. I'm not a doctor, a nurse, I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian. I am nothing like that. I have no medical experience besides when I did like medical transcription years ago and when I was a certified nursing assistant way back in my teens. So I have no experience and no knowledge of anything. I'm just sharing my own personal experience. Anything that I share with you is just what I did and does not replace what the doctors should tell you. So I highly recommend that if you are going through this, please seek the advice of your doctor. So this is just meant to share with you what I went through and how I dealt with it. I really feel like I was almost in a 2-week coma. I don't remember a lot of the days. I do remember the real bad days and I do remember the good days. But luckily, throughout this whole time, I have some family. I have, of course, a lot of family and friends that checked on me all the time. But I had 2 family members, my stepsister who is a nurse and my niece who is an EMT. And my niece had me message her every day what my oxygen level was, and my nurse sister would just message me every day to see how I was doing, find out what symptoms I was having, give me pointers about things to do. So I feel like, honestly, I think that without them and without the equipment that I was using, I probably definitely would have gone to the hospital. And so that's where I kind of hesitated about sharing this video at first because I don't want anybody to not go to the hospital. If you need to go to the hospital, you need to go to the hospital. But for me personally, that is why I didn't go, because I never really had true breathing issues. I would get winded and tired, but I never had true breathing issues, and that's why I chose to stay home and recover. But without the medical advice that I was getting every day from my family, I think things would have been completely different. Every day I was texting back and forth with my stepsister, so I was able to go back and read every day. It kind of gave me a little bit of anxiety doing that. And so I just kind of tried to jot down the notes so that I could share those with you. So I don't want to make this a huge, long, drawn out video, so I'm going to do the best that I can to go through it all. Now, as far as underlying things for me, I do have high blood pressure. I'm on a blood pressure medicine called lisinopril, which I've read a couple of things about that. I've read good and bad, that, oh, if you're on lisinopril, that's a bad thing. Then I've read, oh, it's a good thing. So who knows there. I am overweight. I am obese, actually. And I do have an autoimmune disease called ulcerative colitis, which is basically like the sister disease to Crohn's disease. So I did have those going against me. So basically this started on the 4th of July. It basically started with aches, pains, you know, just feeling like I was sick, kind of nasally. I started running a fever. I had a dry cough, sore throat. That's pretty much how it started. The day before, I kind of felt like somebody had beat me up. I felt my muscles were really sore, but I figured that it was because I was getting a lot of exercise in. The day before this, I had a day of 20,000 steps. If you've followed me, I do Fitbit challenges, and normally I'm lucky if I hit 10,000 steps, but for this past month, I was doing real well. I was building up my endurance, which thank God, because that helped me fight through this. But the day before, I had like 20,000 steps. I had a really good day. I did like 50 flights of stairs. So I figured that was why my body was sore. But when I started getting, you know, feeling sick Saturday night on the 4th, then I knew that there was probably something more going on. So then Sunday on day 2, I actually did get up. I did a quick meal prep video. But in that meal prep video, you could hear in my voice that I was getting sick. But I was just feeling like I was coming down with something. I wasn't really feeling bad yet. Then Monday, I got up Monday morning. I tried to log on because I was teleworking. I told my work that I was sick, so of course they didn't want me coming into work. I decided to just hop on and see if I could telework. That didn't last very long. I ended up calling my doctor, told my doctor about the symptoms I was having, and they suggested that I go to the respiratory care center. So I went there and got the swab up my nose, which I absolutely hated. I don't know if I moved or something, but to me, that hurt. I know a lot of people say it doesn't hurt, but to me it hurt. But it was important to get tested. So they did tell me, I live in Florida, so they did tell me that their testing was taking anywhere from 7 to 14 days, which fast forward, I never did find out until the 9 days later. But I didn't need the results of the test because as the days progressed, I knew that that's what I had. A lot of people say that, oh, it's just like the flu. For me, it was not just like the flu. I have never been as sick as I was. I've never experienced that before. Now, I know some people just have very mild symptoms and go on. It is so strange how for every single person, it's different. But anyway, going back to my days, I told you I'm probably gonna be skipping all over here. So Monday, after I went to the doctor, I came home and logged out of work and just rested the rest of the day. Tuesday, day 4, was not too bad of a day. I actually was able to telework most of the day. I felt okay. I mean, I just kind of felt like I was sick. But I teleworked most of the day, and that day was a very, very emotional day for us at work because we were unfortunately forced to lay off people. And so I lost 2 of my staff due to layoffs, and that was very hard because I'm very close with my employees. So that was rough, and we also found out that day and had to let our staff know that we were being furloughed 1 day a week. So that was very hard. It was an emotional day, but I made it through the day, and it wasn't a bad day of sick. Then Wednesday, day 5, that was when it all started. It was that night I really just started getting chills and the clamminess. I was not necessarily having trouble breathing, but I was getting really winded. I had a high heart rate. My heart rate it felt like my heart was going to just jump out of my chest. I was practicing breathing exercises, so that definitely helped. Was still running a fever. I never ran a really high fever. I would say for the most part, I ran a low grade fever. I think the highest I ever got was one time, the morning that I went to the doctor's. It was 102.8, but actually when I got to the doctor's, it was only 97 point something. So I didn't even have a fever the day that I got tested. Besides that morning, but I did take some Tylenol, so that might have helped. So, but other than that day, I was only running maybe a fever of like 101. So the fever wasn't a big thing. Major headaches, pain behind my eyes, which was really weird, and pain on top of my head. At the very top of my head, I had a lot of pain there. And these symptoms were like all different days. I did not have like all these symptoms at once. They would just, different ones would be on different days. I also had extreme nausea. I ended up losing my appetite. I could not stand the taste of coffee. Completely lost my flavor or my taste of coffee. And if anybody knows me, I love my coffee in the morning, but I could not drink coffee. Finally got the taste back for it at the end when I got better, but I couldn't drink coffee. I would get up in the morning and try and eat like peanut butter toast. That helped me. But for the most part, everything just made me so nauseous. I also got a lot of anxiety, and I don't know if you'd call it panic, but it almost felt like when I went through menopause, it was almost like that. I would get almost like tingling that would just go through my body, and then I would feel like like I was being, like it was draining me and I was gonna pass out. And then my stomach would hurt. It was just seemed like real bad anxiety, which could have been because of, you know, this is a scary virus. Nobody knows, and all we hear is all the bad things that are happening on the news. So I kind of wonder if it wasn't for the media, would I have experienced what I'm looking back to as anxiety. Maybe it wasn't anxiety, maybe it was something else going on with my body. But I also had, my blood pressure was high at times, and other than that, I felt just so extremely tired and so worn out. I remember there were a couple days that I kept my Fitbit on the whole time, and looking back, I only averaged about 1,200 steps a day. I tried to get up and keep my body moving throughout the day. I mean, that was important to me, to try and, you know, move throughout the day. But I remember one day I only got 300 steps in, and that day was my absolute worst. Now, I will say on day 8, I had a good day. I felt like I was getting better. I felt like I was, you know, on the mend. I looked through my camera. I had a picture where I was giving a thumbs up. I never ended up posting that picture, but I was having a good day that day. And then the next day and the next day and the next day were just awful. So I had a good day before I had the worst of the days. My absolute worst was around day 11. 10 and 11, that was probably the worst. Those were the days that I was having to get help from my husband to go to the bathroom. I literally could not even stand up and walk. I had no energy whatsoever to even do that. And just to walk to the bathroom felt like I ran a marathon. I was just completely wasted. So that was the worst day. And that was, like I said, around day 10. So July 14th, that was a really bad day. That day I was literally forcing myself to eat, had really bad anxiety. So that continued, and then let me see when I started feeling better. On day 14, which was July 17th, I had a headache, but I was able to eat. I was tired, but I actually got in the shower without needing help. I felt like I was getting a little bit better. Then the next day, I had some GI issues, which I think I forgot to mention in the very beginning. I was having some GI issues. So after the day that I had, you know, that I was improving, I ended up with the GI issues again, but just for one day. And then on July 19th, which was day 16, I actually got dressed for the first time. I was in my pajamas, not the same ones, but I just never got dressed. I stayed just in a t-shirt or pajamas. So I got dressed for the first time. I actually put on some makeup on that day and got in our pool. Went for just a little bit of a swim, and we went for a very short, slow boat ride at night. So that was something that I was excited about. It was good. I live in Florida, so every day I would try to get outside and get some sun, just to get some vitamin D going in my body. So that was one thing that I did. And then the rest of the time, so today is July 31st. Had my calendar wrong. Today is July 31st. And so, like I said, I started my symptoms July 4th. I'm pretty much about 100%. I'm doing very good now. Almost everything is back. I did lose my loss of smell a little bit. I never realized it though. That's what was weird. I didn't think I lost any smell or taste until just a couple days ago when I was cleaning and I was using some Pine Sol. I think it was Pine Sol. It was something to disinfect everything. And my husband walked in the house and he was literally gagging and choking because he said that the smell of it was so bad and I could not smell it at all. So that is when I first realized, well, maybe I did lose a lot of my smell and didn't realize it. But for the most part, I still tasted my food. So I really don't think that I lost that too much. One thing I also got a lot was dizziness. I was dizzy a lot and that scared me. I hated being dizzy. I would have to get up super slow every time that I would get up. So anyway, moving on, starting with July 20th, I actually put a video up, did a video on July 20th saying that I was on the mend. And ever since that date, I have been slowly getting better. So I have had a couple days where I feel like I have swollen glands. I'm still a little bit congested. I have some postnasal drip still going on. I still am having a little bit of a cough, but for the most part, I feel good. My heart rate is better. I'm doing much better. But let's talk about the foods that I ate. So I said I couldn't drink coffee, but of course, caffeine, I know I wanted to try to stay away from that. What was important to me was keeping myself hydrated, drinking tons of water. I had water bottles that I would literally, when I got up in the morning, I would take 5 water bottles and put them over by me. I like my water room temperature, so that worked for me, and I would keep those 5, and that meant that I would have 10 glasses of water in the day, and that is what I made myself drink every single day to make sure that I kept myself hydrated. In the very beginning, I ate chicken noodle soup, basically chicken noodle soup and crackers, but after so many days, I started gagging on the soup. I couldn't take any more. I did though have chicken breast, and I cooked some chicken breast so that I could put real chicken in the chicken noodle soup, because I just had some canned chicken noodle soup. So I wish that I would have made some homemade and had some in the freezer, but I didn't. But for the most part, I was eating chicken and rice. Those seemed to be good for me. It helped me. Those were good on my stomach. In the morning, I tried to eat eggs, but there were sometimes eggs just didn't agree with me. I was trying to eat them for the yolk because of all the nutrients that are in the egg yolk. And but sometimes that didn't work. So a lot of times I would just have toast or an English muffin with peanut butter. I literally had my own jar of peanut butter that I had sitting next to me, and I would eat spoonfuls of that. I did not care about the calories I was getting. I didn't care about the points that I was getting. I just cared about eating what I could, you know, to keep my strength up. So peanut butter was something I relied on. I had a can of walnuts next to me, and I know walnuts are very good for you. So I was eating a lot of high fat things like that, but the healthy fat, they were all things, you know, that were healthy. But like I said, chicken and rice seemed to be good options for me. I did broccoli because I know broccoli is a power food. So I tried broccoli one night. Unfortunately, that did not agree with my GI symptoms the next day. So I didn't end up eating anymore. Other than that, I ate a lot of fruit. I ate oranges. I ate blueberries, lots of blueberries, cantaloupe. Try to eat like melon type things, but mostly oranges. Oranges I would have every single morning just to start my day. You know, of course, the vitamin C in it, but those helped. Bananas, I tried a banana in the beginning, didn't agree with my stomach, kind of gave me cramps, so I didn't end up having any more bananas. Other than that, that is pretty much what I ate, except for every afternoon, I sometimes would feel like after I rested and had a nap, in the afternoon, I would feel like I wanted ice cream. And so we had these ice cream cones that my husband had gotten from Sam's. They're called Kit Kat ice cream cones. Those soothed me, and I had one every single day. Just ended up putting them through the tracker, and let me tell y'all, they are 12 points. But I don't care. It was the one thing that it just soothed my throat. I know it probably wasn't the healthiest thing to eat, but it worked for me. So that's pretty much it for my diet. You probably assume sleep. Obviously, I was so tired all the time. I was sleeping all the time. I tried putting the TV on, and what I was watching was nonstop reruns of Little House on the Prairie. Why? Because it kept my mind back in the simpler time. It kept my mind calm. It kept my mind where there were values, family values, and just, I don't know, it worked for me, and it kept me off of the media, the internet, things like that. I tried to get on the internet just to update everybody every once in a while, but that's what I did. I sat there watching Little House on the Prairie on TV, just nonstop. Okay, so now I want to talk about my husband. So a lot of you asked if my husband got it. He didn't get tested, but he did not show, he basically just quarantined himself, but he didn't show any symptoms. He showed not one symptom throughout this. We did the best we could to social distance from each other, but that was hard because, like I said, I needed help. I needed him to walk me to the bathroom sometimes. So it was very hard for us to completely social distance. I mean, we just did the best that we could with the two of us. But he, thank God, did not show any signs, symptoms. He took very good care of me. He, did things around the house. He cooked for me, like everything that I ate, he cooked for me. And yeah, I couldn't have done it without him, that's for sure. So some of the things that I did that helped me was from the very beginning. I showed this in another video, but from the very beginning, I used what's called an incentive spirometer. This is one of the breathing things that you get usually when you go to the hospital so that you don't get pneumonia. It helps to keep your lungs open. And basically what you want to do is you just take this and you breathe in, and it has, I don't know if you can see, but it has a little ball here that when you breathe in, it goes up. This down here is best, then better, and then good. So I was aiming to do in the best range. And then this, I tried to get up as far as I could. I had it originally set on 2,000, but I, by the end, was able to get the deep breaths. So pretty much from the beginning, I was able to hit that 2,000 every day. And so that's where I said I was keeping my lungs open. The other thing I did was tried to limit the time on my back. When I was laying down watching TV, I would lay on my side all the time. Sometimes at night, I would try to lay on my stomach. I heard that that helps to keep your lungs expanded. I think some of you told me that, that you have COVID patients and you put them on their stomachs. So a lot of you gave me pointers throughout this as well. So I am not sure if this is something you can actually get off of Amazon. I will check. These are great to have anytime. Anytime you're starting to get some type of upper respiratory infection, these are great to have. These are good to do just regular exercises for your lungs. But if you've ever been to the hospital, a lot of times they send you home with these if you have like a surgery or something. So, but I will check Amazon and link it down below if they have it. The other thing that I used was an pulse oximeter. This is basically one of those things that you put on your finger. They use these at the doctor's office. You put it on your finger and it tells what your oxygen level is and your pulse. So I always used these. This is the thing that I had to send a picture to my niece, my EMT niece. Every day I had to send a picture to show her what my oxygen level was. Again, I don't know how accurate these are. This is just what I did. So I wanted to keep an eye on my oxygen, just make sure that even though I was breathing good, I want to make sure that my oxygen level wasn't going too low. And I'm not going to let you know what I think is too low or not because I'm not a doctor. So I will leave that up to, if you use that, just check with your doctor, because from my understanding, everybody's level is different based on what their normal baseline is. And I think it is maybe, like my husband is different than mine. So I'm not going to give you any levels on that. The other thing that I used every day was my blood pressure cuff to check my blood pressure. So I checked my blood pressure every single day. Basically, when I got up in the morning, I would do a blood pressure check. I would do the breathing treatment, and I would check my pulse oximeter, my pulse and my oxygen level. And that just let me know where I was at, and then I would report it into my nurse sister. I had this with me all the time. I did this morning, all throughout the day. I tried to do it at least once per hour to try and keep my lungs good. The other thing that my sister taught me to do was to walk around the house with my hands raised really high and try to take deep breaths. She said that it would hurt, but to just know that it was helping. For me, it never really hurt because I never really had the chest issues going on. So, but that was something that she said to do. And of course, staying hydrated. And the other thing is just make sure to try to get up and walk around. So every day I tried to get up, walk around as best I could. I didn't want to overdo it. That was important to me. It was kind of hard to decide what was I overdoing and what was I pushing. So that was pretty much how I got through everything. I will tell you, there were a couple days that I got really bad, kind kind of mentally, I was almost preparing myself for the worst because of how bad I felt. But I made it a point every day to look in the mirror and smile and tell myself, you are strong, you are going to fight this, you are going to get through this. Because number one, I am a firm believer of smiling, because smiling and laughter are the best medicine, I believe. I truly believe that smiling sends endorphins throughout your body and just makes you feel better about yourself. And it's always good to give yourself self-talk anyway. So some of you may think I'm a little out there for that, but that's just what helped me get through the bad times. When it got, I did get to the point where I was preparing for the worst. I was making sure I had all the bills paid for my husband for the month. I was I just had a day that, it was probably one day that was probably the worst, where I really questioned what the outcome was going to be. Anyway, that is pretty much, I know I went all over the place. I know this is going to take me forever to edit because I just kind of rambled, but I just, again, want to reiterate that please listen to your doctors, listen to your healthcare people, and listen to your body most of all if you catch this. I will say, please protect yourselves, protect those around you, but don't live in fear. Know that we are going to get out of this. It is going to get better. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I cannot thank you all enough for all the love and support you gave me while I was sick. It means a lot for your friendship, and if my sister and my niece and all my other family that was there for me, if you're watching, thank you so much. Could not have done this without you. Couldn't have made it through without you. And most of all, my husband. My husband took some great care of me, and I truly appreciate him. So that is it. That is basically how I survived COVID-19. So again, thank you, Mara, so much for the shirt. I truly appreciate it. All right, so I hope you all have a very safe and healthy rest of your year. If you're new to my channel and you like weight loss related things, please, I hope you'll consider going and checking out some of my videos. And if you like them, make sure to hit that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you on here. So thank you all so much for all your love, all your support. I greatly appreciate it. I will see you in my next video. I'm Christy, and I'm planning us healthy. And I survived COVID-19.